Hello everybody and welcome to JSY Football. Today we're going to do a bit of a match review. We're going to start with the positives, which was Leeds Ipswich, and then we'll go on to a bit of a negative performance with the Leeds Preston game. So, to start off with, Stu, what were your opinions on the first game, which was Leeds and Ipswich?
I thought we were fantastic. I think it was best I've seen us play under Farker. And stupidly, I was super confident after that game. I thought, there's no way we're gonna lose to Preston. I was stupid to think that, and I think as home form's better than as away form, and I just think against Ipswich we put a lot of effort into it. Needed changes. Come Preston game. I thought he got the team spot on though when he picked the team for the Ipswich game. Yeah. But you can't pick that same team again for 48 hours after, can you?
No.
You just can't.
No.
But it was a good performance, Jess. I was well happy. I was super happy. Mm-hmm. It made it a bit more enjoyable in-house.
Yeah. Evie?
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. It was... I think it was our best performance. I think that we just showed what we can actually do, and I still don't think that we still saw the team at full throttle. I still think that there's more that we can give. We just seem to make them look pathetic, in all honesty. I think, I said the other day that if there was a team that I would be scared to go ahead in and not feel comfortable and confident, as Leicester saw last night, for instance, that they can make a comeback, it would be Ipswich. So the fact that they just looked non-existent, they just looked sapped of confidence and ideas, I think it was a real credit to everybody from the top to the bottom of the pitch that we just nullified them in every single area. And I think they had 2 shots, none on target, the entire game.
No corners.
I don't think we've had that.
Has Evie crashed on the street?
I think so. I think the connection's... I'll see she's coming back.
Is she back?
Oh, there we go. It did it the other day. My internet, for whatever reason, even though I've got K-Com, is just absolutely terrible recently. I think it's there's a bit of a storm outside.
Yeah, I think for me, when I watched Leeds and Ipswich, I thought, it was my best performance of the season for me. I thought they were outstanding. I thought every player on that pitch could have got the Man of the Match award, other than Meslier. They were outstanding. Everyone played for each other. They didn't let them have corners. They were on it to the second ball. They pressed really well. They played a really good team performance. And I suppose we're all a bit gullible and probably went into it thinking Preston on Tuesday would be a walk in the park sort of thing. He did get the team right on Saturday. He had, because they'd had that 7 days respite. So, yeah, he went with his strongest 11 that he believed. And it worked for him, and it was absolutely fantastic, It was their best performance overall for me of the season. And now we move on to Preston. So I'm going to start with you first. What do you think of Preston game?
I'm trying to think. I try and be positive. I'm trying to think. I thought Rutter was probably our best outlet for anything. I thought Somerville was nullified. He wasn't bringing up, he just wasn't really doing anything, or he wasn't being allowed to do anything is probably a better way of putting it. I think our naivety really showed yesterday. I think the youth of our, the age of our average starting lineup really showed yesterday. The fact that Meslier lost his head with, we don't have any grizzled championship players, ones that kind of know how to do a bit of shithousery kind of thing. We don't have that. We've got good footballing talent, but it's like they're too pure kind of thing. We don't have somebody that will just kind of put in a really rough tackle. And that's, I think, the difference between our promotion push team last time around to this time. You know, we don't have Berardi, we don't have, you know, I know obviously we didn't go up with Pontus Jansson, but we don't have that type of player who, you know, we don't have an Alioski or somebody like that that's just willing to, you know, put, you know, the foot through a tackle, and is able to take the kind of the championship banter and give it back without actually losing their heads, kind of thing, or crying about it either. I think probably the player that is most likely to be okay is probably Dan James, because he has done the championship before, and you know, obviously he was at Scum, so he's probably used to being abused by people. But yeah, I think that really showed yesterday, is the fact it's so young. We've got quite a young and tactically astute but naive team. And I think that showed, and there were very few positives to say about that game, in all honesty. It took us to go down to 10 men for us to actually look like we might do something with the ball, and we couldn't even just keep the draw. I would have genuinely, even before the game started yesterday, I said that I would have been happy with a draw, just because we won so amazingly on Sunday that I would have been happy if we just didn't, you know, shit the bed. And unfortunately, excuse my French, but that's exactly what we did yesterday.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, I mean, 3 words sum it up to me: chalk and cheese. It was just total opposite to what we witnessed against Ipswich. I mean, Meslier, I think him doing that. I mean, I praised him on Gary's channel over there. You know, about how well he's done this season compared to back end of last season. You know, with his, you know, but I don't understand why he thought it were a good idea to do that. I mean, he's played in he's played in Championship for us, got promoted, played in Premier League, gone back to Championship, so he's been around a bit. So for him, and I won't mind it, but first time I've ever actually seen him catch a cross. If he'd have punched it, I don't think he would. You know what I mean? If the first time he catches a cross, he ends up bloody. I don't know. He goes into a mad. Maybe that's why he just punches all the time. I don't know, but he lost it. I mean, and to be fair, right, it was soft. It was soft, but it was definitely sending off. You know, he can't. He knows these players are professional footballers. They know what they're allowed to do and what they're not allowed to do. Like you said, Evie, have a bit of, you know, that streetwise about you, you know, going for a tackle and stuff. I get it. But for a goalkeeper to do that right underneath the referee's nose, you're not going to get away with that. And I don't know if that's solely what cost us, because, you know, I don't think it was just that what solely cost us the game, because I do think it was a matter of there were lack of chances, lack of, you know, I think the only shot on goal we had was that penalty. I think that was the only shot on goal we had in the entire 90 minutes. To me, that's not good enough for a side of Leeds United's capabilities with the players they've got. You know, they are intelligent players, you know, and they're a good footballing team, and that was just shambolic. It was absolutely shambolic.
Yeah, I mean, I did watch on for that game, and he should have known better. I am not saying that Preston player didn't make a big deal of it and roll around 400,000 times on the floor like he did, because it was a funny tap in his face at best. But he knew by doing that, under the referee's nose, would get him a straight red card. And there were no complaints from him when he walked off. And what worries me now is we have to go with Cardalo in net for 3 games. And that does make me very nervous. Performance-wise, just was not at the races from the minute we kicked off. We looked slow, sluggish, tired. We were missing every second ball. We just didn't look the same Leeds United that turned up 48 hours before and absolutely steamrolled Ipswich. Now, for me, going into that game, I think we needed some fresh legs. I mean, I can't understand. He could see Archie was struggling. So why not move Jed Spence to right back? Bring Sam Byron on and take him off at half-time. He was struggling in that.
Do you think he was actually fit, though? Do you think that Sam Byron...
Then he's fit enough to play in it, you know?
Yeah, but I don't think he was. I think he's probably, for me, I could be reading it completely wrong, but for me, I think he's put Sam Byram on the bench to give the crowd a reason not to jump on his back, kind of thing, like to give him, say, look, we do have an option, this is what we can do, but then he hasn't done it, he hasn't used it. So I think it was more of for team morale that Sam Byram was on the bench than actually I don't think he was quite ready. I think he was saving him anyway. Regardless of how that game went yesterday, I think he was saving him for West Brom. And I think, Christ, I'm hoping that we're going to see Jed Spence at right back and Sam Byram at left back from the get-go, because Archie needs a rest. He really does, because my concern is Archie's been doing well. He hasn't been outstanding. He's been very kind of like up and down. He'll have a really good game and then a kind of face palm kind of game where, he gets beaten, unfortunately. And I don't want Archie to lose his confidence, that, by playing out of position, he then loses confidence in himself and then isn't able to actually play his midfield position because of the fact that he's been battered at right back, which isn't his fault, square pegs round the holes kind of scenario. And do either one of you think that we have a chance to get Mellier's card rescinded?
No,
No, I don't either.
In that game, though, Evie, couldn't he have, if you could, if Spence was struggling in that game as well, why not switch him around? Why not switch your wing backs around? Try Spence and, switch. If we're saying that about Byram, why not switch Spence and Gray around? If it works.
If Gray was a seasoned pro, then I would say yes. The problem is he's 17, and do we think he's physically, mentally, and kind of psychologically at a place where he can switch it? Sam Byram is obviously a right back by trade and is playing left back, but he's 30 and has been playing for 15 years, at a decent level. So is it fair to put Archie in a situation where he's actually not just playing out of one position, he's playing out of position twice over, kind of thing, because he's got used to playing right back, but he hasn't played, as far as I'm aware, please, if anybody else knows, but I don't think he's ever played left back, at the under 21s kind of level. So or at England, I think if he was older and had more games in his legs, then I think that would have been a great kind of remedy for that. But I think if something then goes wrong down the left-hand side and it's Gray, I just think, we're just crucifying this lad. Just give him a rest, get a left back. I don't understand what's so difficult. If we don't get a left back in this window, I think we're really damaging our chances of promotion in any way, shape or form. I also think we might have to genuinely get, kind of gear ourselves up for playoffs. I really do. And that's not me saying I don't think we can't get promoted. That's just me saying I think we have to be at peace with it, almost. We have to accept it. If we can get automatics, fantastic. But this is a new manager. It's a brand new team. This team has never done playoffs before. So this team doesn't have that negativity, in their legs. They don't have it in their brains. Strout didn't fail. Mellier didn't fail. All of the players with Leeds haven't failed to gain promotion. So why can't we do playoffs? We seem to turn up for the bigger games. It's the run of the mill games that we mess up. So why can't we do it?
But we're beating those teams, Ipswich, Leicester. We've took 9 points out of the 12. What is the issue with teams that are below us? I mean, Preston, I think they'd won 8 games. What was the issue with Leeds yesterday? Why didn't we go there and win? because I wouldn't say, I know they came and they brought a low block and they're quite aggressive and they were fouling a lot. But what do you two think of the reason why we didn't win yesterday? Do you think it was the tactics he got wrong, the starting lineup that he got wrong? Or do you think it's Leeds United's mentality that they won on Saturday, so they thought, actually, you know what? They're a walk in the park. Well, HMS piss them, to be honest.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think that's what it is. Just, and I think a fatigue come into it as well. You know, they're putting a big shift against Ipswich.
Mhm.
Yeah, it looked an easy game on with your eyes, but if you they had to put in the effort to nullify Ipswich for having did they have 2 shots or something, but none of them were on target. So they had we nullified them of having 2 shots. So that took a lot out of them players. It really did. And then they play. You're asking them to do it again in 48 hours later. It's
But
not. It's a
do
lot.
you think, Stu, that maybe like I thought Dan James was brilliant, but we struggle playing him against low block teams because if they're kind of keeping a really solid line and not leaving gaps in behind, his best kind of qualities has been able to kick it long to him and him chasing after the ball. If those spaces don't exist, it kind of makes him pointless. I think I would still rather have him on the pitch than Pirro yesterday, because I just don't think Pirro offered anything yesterday at all. I think if we'd have been playing with 10 men and he'd have been the one that wasn't on, I don't think we'd have noticed a difference, really. But do you think that maybe when it comes to these low block teams that we need to maybe change it up in terms of maybe have Nonto on instead of Dan James, and I thought Dan James did well in terms of he won us a lot of, maybe Somerville needed to come off instead of Dan James, because actually thinking about it, Dan James won us quite a few free kicks in decent areas, and kind of earned fouls. He did one, quite near the corner flag, where he saw the player coming in behind him and he stuck his leg out and moved his body, shifted it slightly to the left, and he earned the foul. And he knew that it was coming, and the player was committed, so he couldn't stop even if he'd have wanted to, so maybe I'd have taken Somerville out. And I know that's a bit strange considering he's probably been our most consistent player this season, but he was just there was 2 or 3 people on him at all times, and he just couldn't really get into the game. We need a backup plan, and we don't have that at the minute.
And plan B or plan C, and that is the problem with him. It's plan A and plan A only, but there's nothing there for a plan B. So I think for me, when we got the penalty, some people say it was, some people say it wasn't. For me, it was a penalty. He did catch his leg.
Yeah.
I would have parked the bus there easy and thought, you know what?
Yeah, me too.
Not the best point, but we'll take it and we'll run. And we didn't.
A point's better than nothing, and both the teams above dropped points, obviously, but Ipswich still gained a point that we didn't think that they were going to get. And obviously what kind of has annoyed me is that a lot of people, I think the fan base, have been overly confident and arrogant to the fact that we've not mentioned Southampton, and now look, they're ahead of us because they're doing their jobs, they're winning the games that we couldn't win, and now they're on, is it 15 games unbeaten or something now? They're on a stupid run, and I said yesterday the fact that we need to be looking at Southampton, that they're right there with us, and now they're ahead of us because we got cocky, got arrogant, and I just think that the team, one step forward, 2 steps back at the minute. I'm not saying it's going to be like that all season, but we just seem to have taken we had a really good run where we were obviously keeping clean sheets, we were battering teams, and that seems to have fallen off probably since, I don't know, was it maybe the Rotherham game or the game just before? What was before the Rotherham game?
Was that when Norwich won it? We bet Norwich, didn't we? We come from 2-0 down to beat Norwich.
Yeah, but I'm just trying to think of, we just seem to have taken a bit of a slump. We've still picked up a couple of wins, but we weren't fantastic at Blackburn. We got the win and we got a clean sheet. but those are the kind of games that we need to like duplicate. You know, we need to have just ugly wins, and we seem to win really well. I think the only ugly win that we've had this season has been QPR.
Yeah.
All of the other wins, I think, have been really, you know, even the Norwich win, like you said, Stu, that it was like a, you know, everybody loves a comeback story, you know, going, you know, 2-0 down, and everybody loves that kind of thing. But I think the only ugly win that we've had this season really is QPR, and we need more of them. And Leicester are probably the kings of ugly wins this season. They haven't been amazing, but they've got the job done. The table doesn't lie. You know, they've been effective, not pretty, but effective. I would say Ipswich have played nicer football than Leicester, but Leicester have been more effective, and that's why they're going to win the league. I don't think that's really in doubt now, even with January, even with AFCON. I still think they've created such a massive cushion for themselves by doing the basics that I don't think they're, you know, I think and that's why they can afford to lose against us, because, you know, they're beating all of the teams below, you know, and I think we need to realise that we haven't won the league. We're not in the, you know, we're not promoted yet. You have to win the basic games, and that was, yesterday was a basic game, you know, and we didn't do it again.
I agree.
How much do you put at Daniel Farke's door for this, you know, for this, you know, for this drop in form? Is it a case of the players' mentality is totally off it, or is it a case of Daniel Farke, like you said, just not even a plan B?
I think it's a bit of both, Stu, to be honest with you. I think he has to take a certain amount of criticism, because I know everybody has this preferred start 11. Every manager's probably like it. But looking back, they had put a hell of a lot into that Ipswich game. So for me, just freshen it up. I don't mean go wholesale, but a couple of changes probably wouldn't have gone amiss. And maybe the players as well, because I think they were maybe a little bit arrogant going into the Preston game. Maybe they thought, "Wow, you know, it's a great run what we've had. We can beat anybody." The problem with the Championship is anybody can beat anybody on the day. It's not like the Premiership where you have that top six where you think, or not Man U, sorry, but say something like Arsenal, Manchester City, and they're playing, you know, Sheffield United. You'd say that's an easy 3 points for Manchester City. Whereas you look in the Championship and you're looking at teams, any game's a winnable game. Preston had gone into that game and they aren't winning 8 games. So for them,
14th in table.
we're 14th, and the moved, I think, 7th or want this due at 3 o'clock before everything else kicked off.
Yeah.
So for them, that could actually relight their season, because their manager were looking at getting sacked. And I thought they actually played quite well Preston yesterday. There wasn't. They gave us a game. They had a game plan. They were aggressive. And Daniel Farke probably played into their hands a little bit with the same predictable 11. Obviously, he's going to have to make changes now for Friday, because Mesley obviously can't play. So, and I'd like to see Sam Byron come back in and Jed Spence.
Yeah.
For me, though, we have lost or drawn at Stoke, Rotherham, Sheffield Wednesday. So we've had enough experience from them games to now know what teams are going to do with the low block, to take that into Preston. So why aren't we doing that, baby? Why? What is the issue?
I don't know, because he's done it before. You know, like, he's won the league twice before, so he knows these teams are going to have low block. So I think the issue is Rutter and Pirro and the left back. I think those 3 positions are killing us right now, because we're having to play our right back, you know, our Premier League essentially right back as a left back. Where again, our best left back is a right back. And then Pirro and Rutter are they're playing opposite positions where probably they should be switched round. But even though Rutter, I believe, is more of a 10 than a 9, he's not a Pablo. He's not a Buendia. So therefore, without Pablo, we don't get promoted last time, because how many games did he just take it by the scruff of the neck and you know, get us those results, you know, and we don't have that this season. You know, Rutter, he was probably our best attacking player yesterday. I think Strauch was amazing. He was probably my man of the match yesterday, because he was very composed. Rodon was poor in the first half, but good in the second half. But I think we have to get a number 10 in January. And I think 10 and a left back is, if we get those, I think we can strap ourselves in for a very exciting second half of the season. If we don't get those, I think we strap ourselves in for a very nervy and disappointing, potentially heartbreaking, because if we don't get promoted, we lose Somerville, we lose Nonto, we lose Rutter. We don't get Jed Spence, as made as a permanent. We probably don't get Rodon as a permanent. So the team will look completely different. Meslier goes. Some people might say that's a good thing. Some people might not. But either way, the team next year, we're in the same situation as this year. We're having to rebuild it again, because all of our best players, and this time they will be our best players. Last year, all the ones that left, they weren't particularly great anyway, other than Sinistera and Adams were probably the exception to that. But I don't like them, but I'm not going to be revisionist. They were brilliant for us in the time that they played. But we lack that 10, and I think that 10 gets us those points.
I agree.
Because I think, the Stoke game, we have somebody that, we get a free kick. To be honest, when we get given free kicks, I think, just what's the point? We don't have somebody realistically that can take it. So shall we just carry on playing? Just give us advantage instead of giving us a free kick, because it's just kind of pointless. We are better at creating goals from like counter-attacking rather than any sort of set piece situation, and we just don't have that person, and that's what's killing us. A good, solid, consistent defense, and a number 10, an actual number 10, somebody as well that can maybe have a bit of competition for Rutter. Not saying that Rutter has done anything wrong, but we still need competition in order to get the best out of the players. And I think the front four are very comfortable, and they don't have to fight for their place, because they know that they're getting in. It's the same with, I would have liked to see Gruev, maybe come on for Ampadu, yesterday, and maybe even move Archie. If Byram was as fit as, as we're saying that he was, say he was actually fit, I would have started Jed Spence at right back, obviously Rodon, Strauch, and Sam Byram, and then I would have had Gruev and Archie Gray, or Gruev and Kamara, and then change him on and put Archie Gray on in the second half, whichever way. And then I'd have the front four maybe as they were, or maybe I would swap Nonto and Pirro, and maybe have that front four instead of Pirro for yesterday. But it's the left back that, most of our problems can be solved by getting a left back and a number 10. If those are the only players we get, I still think we need more depth in centre back. I still think we probably need another midfielder, creative midfielder as a backup. But if we only got 2, as long as we got those particular positions, I think we're all right. I think we could, I think promotion is still on the cards. But if we don't, I just, if we get an injury to Rutter, where's our creativity coming from? Where's our strength from getting the ball from our half to their half? I just struggle to see the positivity if we don't get those 2 positions.
Stu?
I totally agree. I do. I think, the one thing I remember what sticks out in my mind is when Daniel Farkas said about England overplaying Archie Gray. He should be playing so many games and stuff like this, and he goes and does the exact opposite for Leeds United. Now, Archie Gray, look, I love Archie Gray, but I said to Jess yesterday, the thing I don't want to see for Archie Gray is his confidence to be shattered, just like Strikes were last season when he was playing out of position.
Mhm.
And I don't hold it against Archie Gray. Archie Gray's been asked to play there. He's asked to do a job. He's doing it to the best of his abilities. The thing what's getting knacking me is with Perot. The team's got to be at it. The team's got to be winning before you see him. If the team's not at it, not winning, you might as well not have him in your squad. You might as well not bother, because it's got a wonderful goal against Ipswich. You would have thought that might have kick-started him on again, but no. It's hit or miss for me. Is Perot, Eva? It's hit or miss, and I don't know if it were a panic buy. I think we were going after that Archer, weren't we? But we ended up with him. Now I think Lockie said it, didn't he? I think it was Lockie who said that he won't fit. He will not fit the Leeds United system. Yes, he scored goals and stuff like that. I get it, but maybe they are right. Maybe he just doesn't fit the Daniel Farke system, and it's costing us. It really is costing us, and we could do get the replacement. I think in January. I really do.
Yeah, he went missing again yesterday for me. There's too many games this season where he has gone missing. I know he scored 8 goals this season, and that's fair enough, but I like a striker that adds that little bit more. And
Oh, has Jess gone?
Has Jess gone? I think Jess has gone.
Oh,
I think
no.
it's just me and you.
It's just us. No, but I think she's right. The problem is we kind of need a Bamford replacement, as in an actual. Bamford was really good at holding up the ball in his best. The 2021 season in the Premier League. He was really good at holding the ball up. Oh, there you are.
Yeah, I'm back again. Internet's playing up my side as well. We've got to start here as well.
No, I was just saying, I think we kind of need a Bamford replacement. Somebody who can hold that ball up, but who does know, like Bamford in the 2021 season, that he can score the goals, but he can get, we had goals from everywhere in the promotion season, and then the first season up, goals were just coming from everywhere. Everybody got involved, and it is that we're missing that. We haven't had that for this is our 3rd season of not having that kind of player. And I think it's really telling, and we just need everybody with full of confidence. And Somerville's been outstanding, but if you take him away, what have we got? Consistency wise, Rutter isn't consistent, Pirro's not consistent. Dan James tries his best, but he's usually better at crossing than he is actually hitting the back of the net himself. He needs somebody to cross to. We need that strike. We need an actual striker who can hold the ball up. Whereas I think Pirro is more. I know he's played in the 10 at Swansea, but different team, different expectations. We need an out-and-out number 9 who can fit this particular system, and we don't have that.
Would you like to see Bamford starting next game? No, stick with Perot.
Yeah. To be honest, I would maybe Nonto. Oh, Joseph. Yeah, I'd see Joseph.
I think he did all right. His cameos that he's done, I think he did all right. I think if he's going to stick and never roll the dice and give anybody else a try, then those players that probably ain't getting any minutes at all have to move on in January. And I'd like to see Joseph get a bit of a chance. I think he offers something.
But I'd only, if you put him in, I'd only swap him in terms of. The problem with Farke is he seems to have, with the Stoke game, obviously swap 5 players or 4 players. You don't have to do that. Why don't just swap one player for another player? Because, I understand if you do swap 4 or 5 players, it is going to mess up, the kind of the unity and the kind of the balance of everybody knowing what your role in that game is if you swap in 4 players out. But if you just swap, Pirro out for, put Georgie in the number 10 and have Joseph as the number 9, that's only one player that you're moving. kind of thing. And we know that Georgie and Pirro do kind of swap between each other in good games. That's been the key, is them, swapping roles depending on where the ball is. Pirro can continue his run. Georgie threads, Georgie has just such a beautiful weight of pass that he's wasted playing as a number 9,
I do agree.
So I think Joseph is that target man, and it's now he even looks like Bamford with the hair and everything. So I think he is, a potential striker that that we can mold. He's still young enough that he hasn't fully found his. I know he has played on the wing and he has played as striker, but he's moldable, just like Archie is. He could, with a good manager. I mean, look at Phillips, for instance. He was more of a box to box midfielder, and then Bielsa came in and said, no, you're like a number 6. You're a defensive midfielder, and he got an England call up because of it. So a player can find their best position later on, and we've got a young squad. So a lot of these players are moldable, but we have to give them a chance. Otherwise, like you say, Jess, they'll move on because they want to play football, which is what you want. You want a player to want to play football. So you can't really blame them, to be honest.
Quick question, Evie. Right, the talk is in January. Anthony's gonna go over to Bournemouth. We're going to get some Sinisterra back in January. Is that going to make a massive difference for Leeds United?
I don't think that's going to happen, because Farke said to Phil Hay the other day, I think in one of the press conferences, that the only reason Anthony wasn't on the bench was because he was poorly, and he will be with us until the end of the season. Also, Sinisterra scored for Bournemouth yesterday.
Cracking goal.
So I haven't seen it. I just knew that he scored.
Sinisterra's just scored. It's a pearl, and I'm like, oh, right. I mean,
the thing is I'm glad. I want him to do well.
We're solid.
Because either way, if obviously worst case scenario, we don't go up, I think there's an obligation to buy for about, I think it's 25 million. For Sinisterra. So if we don't go up, Bournemouth have an obligation to buy Sinisterra. So we then get 25 million. So that's fine. That helps us with profit and sustainability. If we do go up and he's playing well, it means we can up his price a little bit, maybe get 30 million out for him. So either way, I want him to do well, because it's going to help us. I don't want him back, and I wouldn't accept him back in January. If that did happen, Stu, I think that I would say he has to go out on loan, because there's a lot of like Leeds YouTubers that are like, oh, don't be daft, you'd welcome him back, of course you would. And I'm like, no, because it's the atmosphere. There's no denying the man's talent. He's incredible. But he's fit 50% of the time. So can he really be relied upon when you're in a promotion run? And Farke doesn't like changing the team up. So would he even get in? Because we've seen, with like when Rodon got the red card against Hull, he obviously then wasn't in the game against Southampton. We lost that game because of Farke's stubbornness, by not playing the best team available for him. So if you've got a player who's not available because of illness or injury, he's not going to get in the lineup regardless of whether he improves the team or not. Also, if Sinisterra stays, we don't get the Somerville of this year, because he doesn't get played as much. Sinisterra gets chosen ahead of him. So if you're Somerville, do you really want somebody who's left and abandoned when we got relegated, and B, somebody that could potentially nick your spot because they're at this moment in their career probably a better player? It's not going to create a good atmosphere. And we had a year and a half of not a great atmosphere. Do we really? Is that worth having that back for a talent that's maybe can play another 12 out of the 23 games available? I just don't think he's worth it. And that may be cutting my nose off to spite my face kind of thing. But I don't like. It's the same reason I wouldn't take Harrison back now. I miss his first touch. His first touch was always beautiful. You know, it was like poetry on the pitch when you could ping a ball right over from, Alioski used to do it all the time with him, and he just has cushion for feet kind of thing. But I just wouldn't take him back because he's gone now. They've all gone, and I'm at first I would have taken him back, but the more I thought about it, I was like, well, no, you've had that added into your new contract that you can leave on loan. I'd have rather he put in a relegation release clause, as in a sell clause. I'd have been more happy with that because at least we'd have got the cash and we'd have been able to buy more players this year. But for me, if you're there putting in a relegation release clause when we're in a relegation battle, nah, you can do one. You're gone for me. Okay. So yeah, I don't think the Sinisterra Anthony thing will happen. No. But I do hope we see more of Anthony. I do feel for him,
because he has got that experience. So Stu, why ain't he playing? Why ain't Anthony? Why ain't he playing?
All I can put it down to, and is Farker don't trust him enough to put him into his starting 11. It's the same with Geltard. It's the same with Paveda. He just doesn't trust these players, and I don't know if it's stubbornness or remember. I mean, the one thing I will defend Farker on is he'll see these players get day in, day out on that training pitch.
Yeah.
We don't see everything what they can do and stuff, and we don't know how they're training. I think Farker, on what I've seen of him, he's a principled man. If you put in the effort in training, you're in the squad. Don't want to say you're in the starting 11, but you're in the squad. I mean, it's like at Nonto, since that incident with when he kicked up a stink in Nonto, he brought him back into training, but we haven't seen him get many starts neither. So I think it's Farker. I just think it's Farker's way. I really do. I'm sorry, I do. I think it's his way of doing things.
I mean, this is interesting here what Bandy's put up. In 4 years, Darlow played 64 times for Forest, loaned out to Walsall, he played 17 times. For Hull City, he played 7 times on loan, and Newcastle used him 86 times over an 8-year period. Now, him in net on Friday, who are you two? Evie?
Yeah, it does. It does. Not just because I think he's a bad goalkeeper, because I'm sure he's not at this level, but it's the same as, I know it's different because a goalkeeper, you're not necessarily doing a great deal. It's not like you're an outfield player, but obviously it's taken us time to get used to Meslier and the way that we're playing now, playing it out from the back. And for the first few, couple of months really, people at Ellen Road and even on the road would kind of boo him a little bit and jeer at him for taking so long, but it was the way. Now we've come to understand that that's just the way that we're playing. It's not Meslier doing anything wrong. That's the way that he's been instructed to play. Whereas now, obviously, Darlow has conceded, for the amount of minutes he's played, he's conceded a lot of goals. And obviously 2 on Saturday, yesterday. It's the week in between Christmas and New Year. I've no idea what day it is. But he's conceded 2 goals, one obviously within the first couple of minutes of coming on. But neither goal was really his fault. I would say it was more to do with, Archie Gray, and I'm not trying to kind of dig him out because he's been played out of position and he's 17, but I think that's where those goals for me were more on Farker than they were actually anybody on the pitch. Because I think, but
good, but he was. Archie, I can't understand why Farker can't recognise that from the sidelines, but actually, I need changes because he's having his life, and that's sometimes what I don't understand with him. Why I question his substitutions, because he did make, obviously he had to make that substitution, take Perot off and bring Darlow on, but then he made 2 subs pretty quick after that.
Thing is, we didn't really notice the difference, did we though? Perot wasn't really involved, so he didn't really make that much of a difference coming off. I agree. He was having his pants down from the get-go, and I think as well, what Leicester don't have, what Southampton don't have, and what Ipswich don't have. And again, this may sound arrogant. We are everybody's cup final. You know, that was their biggest crowd at Preston for 41 years. Like, you know, like if nobody can deny that we're, you know, it's the same for Millwall. You know, it's the first time in years that they'd sold out their tickets. You know, everybody turns up against Leeds, which is why we can't get arrogant, because it's not like playing, you know, people don't, you know, I've said from the get-go, Leicester are a bigger team in the Premier League than we are right now.
Yeah,
but we are a bigger team we are a bigger team in the Championship than any of those are, because they've been out of the Championship for so long, whereas we haven't. That we are more relevant than they are in the Championship. So people don't turn up against Leicester that like they do against us. People don't turn up against Ipswich like they do against us. So why in December have we not realised this? Why has Farker not realised this? You know, I'm not saying Norwich are a small club by any stretch, but they're not Leeds.
Yeah.
And so managing Norwich and winning the league with Norwich is easier than managing Leeds and winning the league with Leeds, even though on paper we've got better team.
If that makes any sense. What you achieve with Norwich was a big thing, because Norwich are I don't mean a smaller club than they are compared to Leeds United. Leeds United probably, when Farke took over, everybody expected more than likely for Leeds to go up automatically, and we are now, you know, Leicester are 14 points clear now. We ain't going to catch Leicester, and we're delusional if we think that they're going to lose 6 or 7 games. I don't believe that, Stu. I really don't think that will happen. I think we have to worry about staying where we are. We're already not knocked out of 4. We don't want to be finding ourselves outside of the playoff positions as well. I think a lot of Leeds fans have said, well, I don't want playoffs. I can understand that, but we have done it ourselves by not beating the smaller teams in that league. And I get what Joe's saying. Like, I watched your debate the other day, but I totally agreed with you, and that's not because it's a woman. I agreed with what you were saying. I believed it were right what you were saying. I know it kind of got people's backs up a little bit, but
it got right heated.
Everybody's allowed their opinion, and I believe what we're saying. We're right. Maybe because we don't want to hear that. That's the thing. I think it's hard to read, and that's the problem. In Gary's saying it need to avoid playoffs and get automatic. That's the target. I don't think that is. Stu?
No, look, I think I don't think we're consistent enough to get automatic promotion. I really don't. You tell me a team what's gone up automatically who's been consistent. There isn't many. There isn't many, if any, to be honest. So I think, like Evie says, we need to prepare ourselves for automatic. We have to prepare ourselves for automatic. You know, it's not the end of the world. It's, you know, to say that in August we didn't know what squad we were going to have to finish the season in playoffs. I don't think it's bad. I really don't. I don't think it's a bad thing. You know, we just got to accept that there's better teams, you know, in the Championship than, you know, we're going to finish first and second than what we are. You know, a season's over 46 games, 48 games. It's going to be very difficult, you know, just to switch off this tap of being inconsistent to suddenly becomes consistent. And in second half of the season, I just don't think it's not realistic.
I agree. Either.
I think January does play such a massive part. I think our entire season hinges on January and what we do or don't do in January. I think by the 31st at midnight, we will know what we can expect from the rest of the season. I think we know whether the 49ers have enough faith to fully back an automatic promotion push, or whether they think that because of the points that we've dropped, that playoffs is the best that we can hope for. Because I feel for them, and a lot of Leeds fans don't like it whenever I say something like this, because I feel for the 49ers, because they have to plan for the best, expect the worst, but also be stable enough to handle both. Because if we don't go up, regardless of whether you want to blame Fark, the players, the 49ers, the league, the refs, whatever, the financial restraints that are going to kick in as of the end of the season if we don't go up is going to be massive. We are going to have to sell, because not because we want to, not even because the players necessarily are pushing to get out, but because we have to stay within, the EFL is so strict that we cannot afford, and the EFL hate us, let's face it. They just don't like us, and they will be on us like a fly on shit if we're not, to the penny within those kind of, restraints that we have to be, and if we don't go up, the 49ers have to plan for that. So therefore, I think we'll get 2 players. I think we definitely use our 2 loan spots, and it's whether they put the money on actually getting a solid left back. And Danny.
Do you know what? Next time we do one, we must have Danny Rumsey on with us, Evie, because it'd be kind of interesting from the L2's point of view. So next time we do one, Danny, when Evie's on, we will have a nice little four-way. Me and Stu will be mediators, and Evie and Danny can ding, 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 and we'll have a round one and a round. So definitely, Danny, we will have you on, lad. Next time we do one, you are more than welcome to join us, because I think it's interesting. And I think, even though you got people's backs up with it, I think a lot of what you were saying were right, mate, and I think that's why it's nice to have a woman on there sometimes.
A lot of people have come back afterwards and said, "Oh, Evie was right." Well, it was Joe as well. Joe was agreeing with my point as well. And people don't want, football's an emotional sport, and we're all passionate, and we all. I don't want to, I know men like to take the piss of women always been right, blah blah blah, but I don't want to be right with this. I wanted Farke to prove me wrong. I wanted us to go and smash them, but what have we seen so far this season that says that we were going to go and smash them? Even before the Ipswich game, our biggest result was the Huddersfield 4-1, but we still let a goal in. And I understand, because obviously we had the Leicester game the following week, so I know that was a bit of a weird game, because we probably would have gone on had we have been playing, I don't know, maybe Middlesbrough or kind of Plymouth or somebody like that the following week. I do think that we probably keep a lot of our players on and go and get 5 or 6 kind of thing. But because it was Leicester, maybe that's different. But we then go and slip up. After we beat, I'm sure, was it? So after we beat Leicester, is that when we then went to play Plymouth and we beat them 2-1, but we were beating them 2-0, and then they got that goal back, and it was a really sloppy goal to concede as well. I think that was just before the last international break, and so we've seen that we've got these slip ups. The arrogance slips in, the complacency slips in. It annoys me. We could be so much better than we actually are, to be honest. And I think that's what frustrates me, is that we battered Ipswich, and I still don't think we were going full force. So why can't we save a bit of that energy and batter Preston? Why can't we break down those teams? Because those are the easy points, and those are the points that Ipswich and Leicester are picking up, and we aren't. And that's the difference between why we are now 4th and they are 1st and 2nd.
I agree. I think if we looked at, and we'd lost to Ipswich and Leicester, but we'd won all those other games at like Stoke, Rotherham, Sheff Wednesday, Hull City, another one, would have said, look, we probably expected to lose to them because they were in top 2, but we've won all them other games. That's the problem. They're winning. There is the other way around. They've lost to Leeds, but they're winning all these lower league teams. I would much rather win all these lower league teams, have a few more points on board, and I lost to Leicester and Ipswich, because they're sat now pretty at the top. I mean, I know theirs would have won 1 draw yesterday, but me and Stu didn't watch them for that. And credit to the pair of them, they deserve the draw.
Yeah.
I've prepared myself for the playoffs, because I think if anybody might nick it could be Southampton now.
Yep.
That's me being realistic. I think everybody months ago was saying we want him sacked. We're not doing out at Southampton, and all of a sudden they've just
rolling Leeds United.
Yeah,
it was our game that was the turning point. And just like Preston, they haven't won in 8, and uprolled Leeds United, and it pees me off so much because I'm just like, why are we that team? Why are we the team? Oh, you're going to sack your manager. I tell you what, we'll give you a helping hand. We'll let you win this game. It's just, why do we do it? Why do we, do stupid things? And it was the point that I was trying to get across the other day on Joe's was we can get a maximum of 12 points. 12 points doesn't get you promoted. All of the other points get you promoted. They can afford to lose to us because it doesn't matter. Because we're so far behind now, we now need Southampton to lose and for us to win in order to get back to just being third, not even gaining points on, Leicester and Ipswich. That's just to get back to third again. We could have us, and I said it a while ago, us and Southampton could be so far clear of 5th and 6th, but so far off 1st and 2nd that by the end of it, we've got nothing left to play for at the end of the season because we know that we're in the playoffs. We know we're not going to drop out of the playoffs, but we're also not going to get in the top 2. If it keeps on going, maybe Ipswich do have a drop off. It could be that last game of the season, Southampton versus Leeds at Ellen Road, could be the decider. Could you imagine the pressure on that game?
Well, they don't feel pressure very well, do they? So, Southampton at the minute are probably rubbing their hands in. I'm just having a look at Southampton's fixtures. So they've got Plymouth at 6 o'clock on Friday, and then Norwich, Sheff Wednesday, Swansea over smashed yesterday 5-0, and then Hull, Rotherham, Huddersfield. They've got quite a nice run of fixtures.
Yeah.
Everybody was saying Southampton won't do all. Well, they actually have, and they actually have quarters now, and they're only 4 goals behind us on goal difference as well now.
Yeah, so, exactly, and they were like 15 goals behind us a few games back.
I mean, West Brom, what do you think on Friday?
No.
Because I think that would be a hard game. Stu?
I mean, look.
Oh, yeah, that. What do you think of West Brom on Friday? We'll move it on. What do you think of West Brom on Friday?
I think it's going to be a difficult game, Jess. I really do. You see, that West Brom are going to take some comfort from us losing to Preston. We're on road again, which again, like I says, as away form is totally erratic compared to his home form. If we were at home, I would have said we should, we've got a good chance of bouncing back, but away from home again, I just think we're going to struggle.
Eva?
Yeah, it's Friday night away from home. Quarter past 8. So everything. I mean, the good thing about it being 8:15 on Friday is, I suppose, it's that extra bit of rest for them. But I just, extra bit of rest and recuperation for Byram so that he's fit. It was hard. Obviously they got a draw against us. We should have beat them because their goal should never have stood, the one at Ellen Road, because he palmed it into the goal. So, if we were in the Premier League, that goal gets ruled out. So we win that game. Again, that goes back to some really dodgy refereeing in this league, especially. But I think it's going to be hard. I think they're, Corberan's doing a brilliant job with them, absolutely fantastic. And the problem is if we lose against them again, then...
They're not far behind us then if they catch us. When they're on, I think they're on 39 at the minute.
They're on 39, so they'd be on 42, so they'd only be 3 points behind us then, and that's when, people start getting nervous. And obviously, if we lose, the people who maybe weren't even going to question leaving in January maybe then start to think, ooh, do I test the water? And, obviously there's a lot of teams, Forest, Crystal Palace, Crystal Palace have won, and Aston Villa, they're looking at Somerville. I don't think he'll do the Villa. I don't think Somerville will go because right now, I don't think he gets in Aston Villa's team without there being an injury, whereas right now he's playing every single game. So I think for his own career, as well as obviously Leeds, I think he stays. But if we go on a really bad run of form and the window's still open, does he jump ship? And I just, I think it's going to be tough. And I think I said we'd get a draw at West Brom, but we need a win now.
I think so.
And I think in order to make up the points, because I think I would have been okay with a draw against Ipswich, but I thought we were going to beat Preston. So now we've got points to make up because the game that I thought we were going to win, we lost. So I now think we need a win on Friday. And I hope that Farke, because he's very calm, very complimentary of his team, on the cameras, I hope he goes through them. Like, I hope he went through Meslier, because that was a naive decision when he put his hand up. It was very naive. And you could say that out of all of the players, potentially he lost us that game by doing that, because we've not seen Darlow for 3 months. So
last game he played.
Yeah, exactly. So we're now putting a goalkeeper who we haven't seen for months in the net, and they immediately, are hyped up. We're away from home, all of these things. Did he? No, Danny, he's not allowed to, because he said we'd win, and the last 2 times he said that we've won, we've lost. So he needs to keep on with his Desmond Tutu, and that's fine. And then we'll get good results. So it's all on Danny, to be honest. Fully blame you.
Good shifting though, does really well. Do you see him staying in it, or Meslier just gets his place straight away back?
I think Meslier gets his place back, because he knows the build up more. The team. You look at most promoted sides. There's especially with the defence. There's routine, and everybody. You don't change it. For me, unless your defender has done something wrong, you don't change your defence. It's your attack and your midfield that you mess around with. But I do think we need to change our defence, because I think we need Spence at right back, Byram at left back, Strauch and Rodon, no problem. But I think we need to give Archie, just give him a rest anyway, regardless of he just needs a rest. He's 17. I know he can be playing plenty of football because he's 17, but we've seen what overplaying players can do. It can damage their whole career, and he's got such a bright career in front of him that I'd hate if we don't get promoted and we damage Archie Gray. What an awful season it would end up being. So I struggle. We need to see changes in that lineup on Friday for me, and if we don't, I think that West Brom game is a bigger game than Ipswich or Leicester. I think when we play Leicester again, I still don't think it's the make or break game. It's the other games. It's if we think pragmatically, playoffs are more likely. I'm not saying that we can't get automatics, but if we just think playoffs realistically, playoffs are more likely. We have to beat those teams, because at some point we might have to play those teams again. Because we have to beat them. Otherwise, if we've drawn, and if we lose or get another draw and we're going down to penalties again, we lost against Salford in penalties. So what are we going to do against West Brom or Southampton or Sunderland? Or we just have to beat these people in and around us. I think we want the glory of beating Ipswich. We want the glory of beating Leicester. We have to win the boring games. It's so important. And I didn't want to be right yesterday. I really didn't. I wanted us to come out and put a statement out that we can batter these teams. The only teams that we've really battered are Ipswich and Huddersfield. So like the two extremes, we've not really battered. I know we battered Millwall and Watford, but I think that was a lot of it was down to them not turning up as much rather than us being fully at it. So I think we need a win. I'm not predicting a win, but I think we need a win on Friday to cancel out yesterday. We need a win tomorrow, Friday.
But wouldn't that be so easy to do? To actually go to West Brom without us thinking, with it thinking, with us all thinking it's going to be a tough game and just beat them. You know what I mean? It still leads it to do it, innit? And then after that, we've got Birmingham.
Absolutely.
But you see
God,
what I mean?
We're going to save Wayne Rooney's job. Yeah, we're going to save Wayne Rooney's job, aren't we?
They were so poor against Stoke yesterday. I mean, they were 3-0 down at half time. Shrek's just crap. I'd have kept John Eustace. They were signing 6 players. I will never understand why they did that. Just because he's a big name, as in he was a good Premiership player. He's done nothing in his managerial career, and I think that were harsh on John Eustace. But this one here, what Jam's saying, you're right, Jamie lad. Is it me or is it Farke's honeymoon period coming to an end? I don't think so.
No, I wouldn't say that. I still have faith in him. I genuinely think we can't fully judge Farke until January window closes, because I think if we get the players that he needs to play his complete style of football, then if he's still failing, then we can start to properly judge him and maybe get on his back. But I think that he's got enough credit because of the shit show that he came into in August and July, that for me, I'm not any of these people saying Farke out or anything like that. I can criticize him. I think we all can, but I still think that he will be the man. That he was the best option that we could get as well, because of the fact he's won the league twice. He's the joint record holder of winning the league. So I don't think the 49ers did a bad job in hiring him, but we haven't got the team that he needs yet. And I think if we get the players in January that he needs and wants, I think after that, I think by February, end of February, we can really say whether he's been good for us or not by that point. But until then, I'm not going to say I'm frustrated with him, but I'm not going to bash him and say that he's crap or anything like that, because I don't think he's crap. I just think that he needs players. He clearly doesn't trust our bench. He doesn't trust the depth that we have. And Joe had a go. Well, not had a go at me, but just. He said the other day that I said that Leicester were a mid-table Premier League team, and he didn't agree with me. And I said, well, we've probably got a better starting 11, but
I agree.
Leicester have better depth. And, we know that because Farke doesn't use it.
What they had off the bench, what he could do at 60, 55 minutes, you see him yesterday. Change quality on with it. And I think that's the difference with the benches, that he were making them at... Is it Enzo? He was making them at 55, 60 minutes, but the players he were taking off, the players he were bringing on were absolute quality players that were bringing on. And you think,
natural stuff like that coming off the bench.
Yeah.
Wow.
Maybe that's where that does need to change. Maybe they need to look at 49ers and think, right, some of these on bench, obviously, clearly, maybe they're not in Farke's plans. Let's either move them out or loan them off and bring somebody in that he does trust with quality, and then he can use the bench at his will, because at the minute, bringing Bamford on there for 89th minute, for me, it was quite pointless. It's not for me in that, he ain't going to do all in that time. Stu?
Have you got the funds to actually bring people in January?
Eva's your woman to ask there, Stu.
This is where the 49ers are damned if they do and damned if they don't kind of thing, because we've dropped so many points. This is where the dropping the points to the smaller, like not smaller tiers, but you know what I mean, the easier championship teams comes in, because the 49ers have to balance the risk of the financial implications of if they spend a load of money in January and we don't get promoted by either method, automatic or playoffs, they're going to have to dramatically weaken our side by selling Rutter, by selling Nonto, by selling Somerville. So then we start next season with our best players gone. We have to find those players under the constraints of financial fair play in the championship. So I think we get high quality loans and mid quality purchases if they're available. But I also I think they're business wise, that they're not going to overpay for a risk that might not pay off. But they want to make money. There's no money in the Championship. They want to get to the Premier League. So all these people saying that the 49ers won't invest, I don't agree with that. They'll invest it wisely. And we did that in summer. We basically broke even in summer, and think of, we got Ampadu in, we got Kamara, we got Gruev, we got Pirro, we got Rodon on loan, we got Spence on loan, so we've done really well. We got Anthony on loan. So for those quality of players most of them are in our starting lineup, barring maybe Gruev, we've done really well for the money that they spent. We've done brilliantly, and we pretty much broke even. So I think that they can do it. And I do think they'll spend, but I don't think we're not going to spend 15 million on somebody. We're not going to sign. I'll say this now. We're not signing Rodon in January. We're not doing that. If he comes to us, it'll be in summer, because they're not going to spend 15 million if all of our attacking players have to be sold in the summer because we don't get up. They are going to they're going to have to spend that money on attacking players. They're not going to spend 15 million on a defender to be in the Championship. They're not going to do it. So for me, regardless of whether we want to sign him in January, now that we're not anywhere near automatic promotion spots, we don't spend that money in January on Rodon. We spend it on other players if necessary and use our other loan spots. So anybody expecting us to buy Rodon in January is going to be very much disappointed, in my opinion.
Yeah, there's one for you here, Evie.
It's logical way of looking at it, isn't it, Evie? Your explanation there, but it's a logical way of looking at it. It's logic.
Business.
Yeah. For
the business, mate, they've got, it's like I was saying, when we were doing a one a couple of weeks ago, Stu, and they were on about like signing this, that, and other. I was saying, but they're a business. They have to keep within financial fair play. So for me, if Leeds go to the Premiership, and we hope they do, fingers crossed, then I do believe they'll spend, but they won't go out and spend that will crucify the club. They'll be astute business, and they'll be looking about thinking, what can we get and what can we get at the best value that suits both parties for Leeds United, and whoever it is coming in, they will keep to what they need to. And I think, because somebody's got a question here, LUFC, all right, pal. Evie, do you think it's a 1 year plan or a 2 year plan to go? Well, we're at 49ers, but it was more of a 2 year plan, wasn't it?
Yeah, I think at the start it was a 2 year plan, and then we started doing really well.
Yeah.
So then I think it's become a 1 year plan, and now I think it's still a 2 year plan, but with a side eye on a 1 year plan, if that makes sense. So I think they're going to be logical. I think they're going to be realistic, and I think there's going to be a lot of fans that get irritated and antsy in January. I think they'll make signings. I think they'll definitely use the 2 loan options because they've already said that they would. Angus Kinnear's already said that we're going to use the 2 loans. And I think if the right player comes up for the right price, I think we buy them. I do think we buy them. I don't think they're going to be cheap. I don't think they're going to be the Championship version of the Glazers type of thing and not put any money in. I think they're going to be logical, because look at Sheffield. If Sheffield hadn't have got promoted, they would have probably had massive implications, and they still might have those when they come back down. Their profit and sustainability from the Championship might hit them really badly when they get relegated, which, let's face it, they're going to be relegated. Then they're going to have a lot of answering to do, and we don't want to be in that position. Look at Derby, look at how that's hit them. Look at if Villa had have got relegated last season, obviously if Unai Emery hadn't have come in, Villa spent massively the year that they got promoted, and they would have had to sell a lot of players in order to fit into the profit and sustainability of the Championship. So they'd have undone a load of their hard work had they have got relegated that season. So I think it's going to frustrate people, and I think I'm going to have a lot of heated discussions if I go on Joe's, because I think that he's not going to like the answers that I give. I don't think a lot of Leeds fans are going to like the answers that I give.
Realistic and you're honest, TV, and I think that's what we, as me and you ourselves, we've said as a collaboration, as both our channels and together when we're on together, is that we wanted to give a opinion, but we wanted to give an opinion that were realistic and honest. We don't want to bullshit people, and we don't want to pussyfoot around it and make out that it's rosy when it isn't. We just wanted to give a woman's opinion on it, and an opinion that is right and realistic. Yeah, it will rub people the wrong way. Yeah, you will probably sit there and think, why are them two birds even on here talking about football, as in Joey Barton's opinion? Who is that doing it? Well, I think me and Evie do a very good job of what we do discussing football, and a big up to Stuart, because if it wouldn't have been for Stu, I probably wouldn't have been sat here now. He's done absolutely massive things for my channel. He's helped me out a great deal. I absolutely love the guy to bits. Evie as well. Big up to her for coming on here, and me and her are going to do a lot more content in the new year and get a lot of things out there, and just stick with it, because it will grow and it will get better. At the minute, we don't expect to have 300, 400, 500 people in our chat. We know Joe's absolutely the main man. Big up to him, because he does a fantastic job on his show. But we just wanted to come out, and we're not trying to thingy with Kate and Eve. We just wanted to come away from everything and give an independent opinion on our opinion on Leeds United. And that's what we've wanted to do for a long time. We've been discussing it for quite a while, and we've just got the balls to get up and do it now. And Evie's got her channel, so subscribe to her, which is Discord of Peacocks. Check her out. Subscribe to her Leica channel, as well as Stu, Disabled Team. Check him out. His content's fantastic. Me and him do a lot of watch-alongs together. So, yeah, big up to these guys, because it takes a lot of balls to sit on here. And you can sit behind a screen and be disrespectful and rude, but you try and sit on here because it is hard. It really is. And just on that point, I'm going to go around and ask everybody for a score prediction for Friday. Stu?
Oh, gosh.
I'll put you on the spot now.
No, right. I want to get, my heart's telling me one thing, but my brain's telling me that we're going to lose this. I think we could lose this 2-1.
Yeah, Danny's going to say nothing. Evie?
God.
Thanks for that, Jammy lad. It's appreciated, mate.
I think it's going to be another draw. I think it's going to be a 1-1 draw.
I'll take it. I'll take that now.
To be honest, so would I. But I think the team needs a win, and because I really do. I think we'll struggle if we have another draw. I think we'll struggle. You know, it's the cliche of it's the draws that kill you in this league. You can take a loss, but it's actually the draws that kill you. But I do.
Danny.
Oh God! Well, that's it. You know that we're going to beat them 7-0 now that Danny's predicted a loss. What are you going, Jess?
I'm going to go 2-1 win to Leeds.
Come on, Jess.
Fingers crossed. 2-1 win to Leeds. I really hope so. But is this loss going to have an effect on Leeds? Because we all thought, me and Stu were saying this about Ipswich, what effect is that going to have on them? Now, we watched their game and we did the watch on for it, and they're absolutely outstanding. You wouldn't have thought they lost 4-0 to Leeds, and they got a really good draw. Does it affect Leeds' performances, or does it knock the confidence a little bit, maybe?
I hope it gives them a slap round the face and slaps any arrogance out of them. You know, I think we just need to be composed. You know, when Sunderland beat us, they had a game plan, and every single player on that pitch had that game plan down to a T. They didn't falter for a second. So for as much as it was a frustrating game, and I still don't think we deserved to lose, they absolutely, every player was 100% committed to that game plan. And the Ipswich game is the only game that I think that every player was 100% committed to the game plan. So we need that back again. I think we need I think it's going to be emotional in the fact of obviously Corberan was, you know, a Leeds coach, but it's away from home. I think we need to be nasty. I think we need to foul, but we need to tactically do it. We need to, each player needs to have a little niggle and then we don't get carded, and then and we need to just wear them down. We need to be inevitable. We need to just embody be confident but not arrogant. We need to say we are Leeds, and we mean business. We're not going to be scared. We're not going to care if you come at us. We're going to come at you. We're going to tackle you. We're going to push you to the ground, but not in anybody's face, because that gets you red carded. We need to. We just need to be. We need to be grizzled championship bastards. We need to stop being so nice and prissy and forget about heel. Just forget about the prettiness. We need to be ugly. We need to win. We need this, because we need to go into the new year, with confidence and cockiness and, you've knocked us back. Well done, Preston. We have to play you at home, and we'll batter you there. So, well done in your cup final, but, you'll be humbled when you come to Ellen Road. We just need to have this, confidence, but it's not expecting the game to be won before you've even kicked a ball. And that's what we've done multiple times this season. And, I just want a bit of, I want players to be dirty. I don't mean dirty as in like being, terrible tackles. I mean, I want to see mud on them from head to toe. I want them to be involved. I want them to fight as a team and to be clinical. We need to, exactly. I've seen that come off at the same time that I said it there. We need to be clinical, and we miss that. We really, we miss that, clinical edge, and we haven't had it for years. But we need it, and we need that anger to come in the, and bring us goals. And then
we need to win that second ball. We need to win them second balls as well.
Yeah, 100% true.
If you remember, a few weeks back, Sam Byron made this tackle on halfway line, and he come in and it was really aggressive. That is exactly what I want to see from Leeds United. Never mind fannying round and being nice and all this pretty football. Sometimes you have to win, and you have to win hard. And going in like that, winning the ball cleanly, sometimes think, I might not go against that play. That's what we need to stop. We just need to start doing it. None of this, you're all right, picking them up on the floor. Leave them on the floor. Be that bit more aggressive. Be more.
But it says a lot that we've only won one game this season without Sam Byram on the pitch. We miss that. We need that. So
I agree with this, Jamie. Jamie says, Leeds have always played hard. Time to be the inglorious bastards again. Absolutely spot on, Jamie. You are right. Stu, any closing thoughts?
I think you two ladies have covered absolutely everything. You don't need me.
Evie, you're not on Joe's tonight.
Yes, I am. I am.
Oh, good. I'll be tuning in after. I'm doing what.
I'll have to watch it now, won't I?
Oh, definitely.
I'm missing round one. I'm not missing round two. Definitely not.
I should give money over there, believe me. Jamie, you want to check it out because it was fantastic.
You just keep being yourself, being honest. People don't like it.
No, that's the thing. Just be honest.
There's not wrong.
My opinion on here will still be the same as my opinion on Joe's.
That's it. Never swear from your opinion, because people just straight boom you out for it. And Evie don't, and I won't either. Like, my opinion will stay the same whether I'm on my show, whether I'm on Evie's channel, whether I'm on Stu's, Gaz, because it's been consistent. And that's the thing. I think Leeds, I've struggled with that consistency this year, and unfortunately, we have to prepare ourselves maybe now for the playoffs. We move, we roll. We can't sit on Tuesday and think, we have to move with it now. We know it will. A shit performance, we get that. He made a stupid mistake in net, but we have to move on and learn from it now. And I got my fingers crossed for 3 points on Friday. I'm sure me and Stu and Gary will be doing watch along for that, so tune into that. Also check out Evie's channel, like and subscribe to my channel. It'd be much appreciated. It helps us all out. Same with Stu's channel at the Disabled Team. Check his channel out, give him a like and subscribe. Same as Evie. And I thank you all very, very much for joining us tonight. It's absolutely been a brilliant show. Great chat, guys, and we'll see you all again very soon. If I don't see you before, have a great new year. See you all, guys. Bye. Thank you.
Bye.